Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Islamic concept of positivity had been inscribed in Quran, in Sunnah. We know that Prophet ﷺ, he was very positive. He rarely despaired, never despaired. We know many hadiths encouraging us to be positive. One, which I'm going to paraphrase, talks about, if you know that the day of judgment is coming tomorrow and you have seeds in your hand, you should put them in the ground, right? Hoping for the best. And that is really the essence of positive aspects in Islamic psychology. Positive psychology had been with us for not very long time. However, what's really nice about this approach is that it doesn't concentrate on abnormalities, but it rather is centered on helping people how to achieve happier life. Happiness in Islam had been explored since centuries. Go back to Ghazali, go back to traditional writers, they books about Islamic psychology. They've actually been but they've been titled under the phenomena of happiness, how to achieve happiness. Actually, emotional intelligence in Islamic psychology, the traditional one, had been understood as a polarity: happiness and non-happiness, miserliness or sadness. So that's why it's so important to see where this aspect of positivity comes in Islamic psychology. There's more aspects to it, but positivity is definitely one of the strongest themes. And again, it's impossible to understand it, it's impossible to appreciate it without comparing it to what's going on in mainstream. And what's going on in mainstream is that it's by definition scientific. So there's plenty evidence going behind, and what psychologists, what scientists in positive psychology that they do, they sort of elaborate on happiness in the workplace, in stress management, education, self-help. So they help individuals, families, and communities on those levels. So in terms of subjective levels, positive psychology, they concentrate on feeling happy, on a term of well-being as well, on optimism, and how those feelings can maintain or transform daily experience. On individual level, the positive psychology, they combine feelings in the subjective level and virtues such as forgiveness, love, and courage. And then they contemplate on how this supports self-development and achievement of happiness. On the group level, positive psychology, they go into interactions with community, and they research virtues such as altruism, social responsibility. So much so that they build theories about how to strengthen social bonds, right? So if we're talking about well-being from this perspective, we are actually concentrating on positive emotions. So happiness is one of them. We're also talking about meaning making in life, forming meaningful relationships and connections with friends. We're talking about engagements in a social and relationship levels. We're talking about accomplishments, goals, and successes. This is what positive psychology is concentrating on. And the difference between the Western aspect of positive psychology and Islamic aspects of positive psychology is the fundamental truth and the fundamental belief in God. So positive psychology in mainstream from the mainstream aspect concentrate on humanistic or humanism humanistic view about humans evolving and flourishing throughout their life and actualizing themselves. Now, in Islamic positive psychology view, we are centering God, and then we're talking about how humans can actualize themselves to their highest potential by submitting themselves to God's decree, to God's will, to God's laws, right? So Islam will emphasize collectivism, not only individualistic relations as well, in order to achieve that alliance with God. So in Islam, we also know that God, he considers himself for available God. He says that wherever you are, he is with you by his awareness, by the fact that he's Al-Samir, by the fact that he's Al-Basir. He's all hearing, he's all seeing. And by that, we also know that God is all knowing. He's got this omnipresence and omnipotence to him, and believing in that brings the level of security and safety on the human and individualistic level. And that is important in terms of believing in divine safety, security, but also decree, because once a person develops in themselves tawakkul, which is probably easiest to understand as trust and hope in Allah's superiority over us, then that brings the person closer to highest actualization, which is the state of reconnecting viti with fitra and achieving the stage of nafs al-mutmainna, the stage of constant happiness and satisfaction with the degree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that stage of gratitude is nothing else but shukr. And if any is grateful, truly his gratitude is a gain for his own soul. But if any is ungrateful, truly my Lord is free of need, supreme in honor. Surah An-Nam, verse 40. So the gratitude, what we learn from this, the gratitude is in our hands. The stage of tawakkul, the idea of believing in destiny, the idea of submitting your humanness to the will and to the omnipotence of God, is within our own journey, within our own responsibility, but also hands. He is free from our journey. He is of no need even of our prayers. Yet, should we embark on that psychological and but also spiritual journey, and should we incorporate Islamic positive psychology perspective into it, then we are closer to what Islamic positive psychology talks about, and that is happiness and really well-attained wellness. I hope that was useful. Don't forget to sign to my YouTube channel, AJS Therapy, and I see you in next